God bless you. My name is Minister Lizanne Espina from Love Gospel Assembly, and I'm going to continue the theme of the Sermon on the Mount. And if you look behind me, that's a little clue of what the topic is for today. The topic is oaths. And if we read the passage of in Matthew, we will read how Jesus felt about oaths, which will, at the end will bring us back to how should we respond in the courthouse. If we look at Matthew 5, verses 33 to 37, it reads in the NIV, "Again, you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, do not break your oath, but fulfill to the Lord the vows you have made. But I tell you, do not swear an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot even make one hair white or black. All you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one." So that's interesting if we're to apply that today. But before we can apply it today, it's very important to ask ourselves, well, what was going on in the time of Jesus? And one of the things that I found that during Jesus' time, the people understood, as we read in the first verse, that they were not to break an oath. And they were not, when you say not break an oath, that means you had to fulfill your promises. Whatever you swore to, you were swearing to God. And by not keeping the oath, that was dishonorable. So we find that that was what the people would do instead, is because they couldn't swear to God, they would swear to anything else. They would swear, I swear to my mother, I swear to anyone, anything else that was not to God. But we're going to see how Jesus deals with this. One thing he says is, "But I tell you, do not swear an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem." So some might say, well, what am I supposed to do when I go to court? What do I do when I have to take a vow? Those are things that are part of our lives today. And I don't think that the issue is so much the act of taking a vow or making an oath. The problem is the position of the heart, the condition of the heart when it's taking the vow. You see, in Jesus' time, they would make oaths or promises, and they would believe, because they didn't mention God in the oath, that they could break it, that they didn't have to be responsible or accountable to the words or the promises that they said, or there was no commitment to what they were saying they would fulfill. So they understood in their hearts that these were things that they would not do, or they would make promises outside of their control. And when it fell flat, it's okay, because I did not make the oath in the name of God. So it's interesting, because he reminds them very clearly that everything really is God's. So if you say you make an oath in the name of a family member, or the hair on your head, that is still in a way connected to God, because as he says, for by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, which is what they would do, for it is the city of the great king. In other words, anything you mention in your oath is going to eventually be connected to God. And eventually you have to be responsible. You have to be accountable to fulfill it. You can't play the game. I didn't say the name of God, so I don't have to be faithful. I don't have to have integrity. I don't have to be trustworthy. And this is what Jesus is contending with. I don't really believe that Jesus has a problem with the act of the oath. It's the condition of the heart behind the oath. Jesus mentions in this that in verse 36, "And do not swear by your head, for you cannot even make one hair white or black," which is interesting, because Why would he even mention hair? We can't make hair white or black today because of hair dye, but why would he mention this? He mentions it because he says that you're making promises to do things that sometimes are outside of your control. And it's better not to make a promise. It's better just to agree or disagree, or that your yay be yay and your nay be nay, and that you be accountable, responsible, and trustworthy. The only one that can control all things is God. And so to say you're definitely going to do certain things that include aspects that are outside of your control is really not being honest. It really is a lack of integrity. So we see that how important it is to really have discernment when you make a promise, when you make a vow. And Joshua, if you read Joshua 9, you'll see that's what happened to him. They decided to make an agreement, an oath with another group of people who were disguised and who were really Gideonites. And I encourage you to read Joshua 9. I'm not going to go through the whole story, but it's interesting that they did not pray, they did not seek God, and they did not use any discernment. And it says in Jeremiah in Joshua, it says Joshua 9:14, it says the Israelites sampled their provisions. Those are the people that were in disguise. They had provisions and that they gave to them, but did not inquire of the Lord. Then Jesus made a treaty of peace with them to let them live, and the leaders of the assembly ratified it by oath. So now they made an oath and a partnership with people they should never have been in agreement with. And later on, we read in the same chapter, it says that um, 3 days in verse 16, 3 days after they made the treaty with the Gibeonites, the Israelites heard that they were neighbors living near them. So the Israelites set out on the third day, came to the cities, Gibeon, Kephra, Beeroth, and Kiriath. But the Israelites did not attack them because the leaders of the assembly had sworn an oath to them by the Lord, the God of Israel. Why am I bringing this up? Because that's how important an oath is. When you give an oath, when you make a vow, it's not something you could just haphazardly say, oh, I made a mistake, I can't do it, or this is not going to work out for me, or this is detrimental to me. You have to be wise and discerning, and Joshua learned that. And because the oath was so sacred, because they made the oath, and to a group of people they should never have, they still had to keep to the promise that they had made, the oath that they had sworn to. So I want to leave you with this. Today there's certain situations that we have to make an oath. If you go to court, and you're going to be a witness, you have to take an oath, and it's fine. Where is the problem? The problem lies if you take the oath and everything you speak is a lie, or it's a half truth, or it's not true, or you hold back. So in that case, now the problem is not taking the oath. The problem is the position of your heart. So we have to be wise and discerning when we take an oath in today's. You don't make agreements or promises that you know you won't fulfill. And if you know there's great chances that you can't fulfill it, or any chance that it can't come true, just say that you hope that this will happen. And of course, not in the court, but in other situations. It says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. In other words, you're being influenced, you're falling short, and you have to check your heart. How do we do this? We read the word and we pray for discernment. Every day, pray for discernment, because we have to make choices, and we have to make decisions, and sometimes we have to make promises and give our word. So if we have those situations, we need to be discerning, we need to be prayerful, and we need to act with integrity. God bless you. Thank you for joining us in this week's Nuggets of Hope. We hope you continue to join us, and we hope that you are blessed by each teaching. You can join us on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. God bless you.